Imagine a road, a lonely ribbon of asphalt, stretching endlessly through the heart of Oregon's wild, untamed forests. It's a place where the world feels paused, suspended between civilization and the unknown. Picture yourself behind the wheel in the 1970s, your car winding through these ancient woods, headlights cutting through the morning mist, the radio crackles with static, and every mile takes you deeper into a world untouched by time. Pine trees tower overhead, their trunks stretching skyward, while sunlight struggles to break through the dense, interwoven canopy. The forest feels alive, breathing, watching. The air is crisp and cool, tinged with the scent of pine needles and damp earth. The only sounds are your engine's steady hum and the wind whispering secrets through the branches, as if the forest itself is speaking in hushed tones. It's breathtakingly beautiful, but as the miles slip by, a sense of isolation creeps in. Civilization fades away behind you, replaced by an overwhelming sense of solitude. Out here, you're truly alone, just you, the endless trees, and the winding road ahead. The forest seems to close in, swallowing all traces of the outside world. Rest stops are rare, lonely clearings carved out of the wilderness. They offer a brief respite, but even here, the silence is heavy, and the shadows seem to linger a little too long. For most travelers, it's just a scenic drive, a chance to marvel at Oregon's natural beauty, to feel the thrill of adventure on the open road. But for a few, this road becomes something else entirely. For them, it's the last journey they ever take, their stories ending abruptly among the whispering pines. In the days before cell phones and GPS, if your car broke down here, you had no choice but to wait, hoping a stranger would pass by, praying they'd be willing to help. But what if the person who stops isn't friendly? What if help comes with a price, or doesn't come at all? In these woods, under the watchful pines and the ever-present mist, a chilling mystery begins to unfold, one that has haunted Oregon for decades. People vanish here, gone as if swallowed by the forest itself. Search parties comb the woods, but sometimes not even a trace is found. This is the story of Oregon's vanishing travelers, a tale of beauty, isolation, and the secrets that linger beneath the whispering pines. It began quietly, a missing person here, an abandoned car there. At first, each case seemed isolated. A traveler doesn't arrive, a family disappears, a car left by the roadside. But as the 1970s wore on, a disturbing pattern emerged. The victims were always travelers, outsiders passing through Oregon's winding highways. Their cars were found parked neatly, personal belongings untouched. No signs of struggle, no evidence, just gone. Police searched the woods, called in volunteers, used dogs and helicopters. Nothing, no bodies, no clues. 7 confirmed cases, each eerily similar, spanning years. The disappearances haunted the Pacific Northwest. Who were these people? Where did they go? The police faced a terrifying pattern, but the perpetrator remained a ghost. The forest kept its secrets. The highways became corridors of fear. Richard Wilbur Jr. was just 22 years old when he vanished without a trace in the summer of 1972. He was driving to meet his family for a weekend gathering, a trip he'd made countless times before. But this time, he never arrived. His car was discovered abandoned on the shoulder of Interstate 5, the engine still warm. Inside, police found his wallet, keys, and even a half-finished soda. But Richard himself was nowhere to be found. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of foul play, just an empty car left on a busy highway, as if he had simply stepped out and vanished into thin air. The following year, Patricia Ellison, a 19-year-old college student, disappeared under nearly identical circumstances. She was last seen driving home from a friend's house, her plans for the evening cut short by an unexplained fate. Her car, too, was found abandoned by the roadside. Her purse, books, and jacket were left behind, untouched. It was as if she had simply ceased to exist. Then, in 1974, the Martin family, parents and their 3 young daughters, were last seen at a gas station, filling up their car for a weekend trip into the mountains. They smiled for the attendant, bought snacks, and drove off into the afternoon. Days later, their vehicle was found deep in the Oregon woods, far from any main road. The car was empty, the family's belongings still inside, but the Martins themselves had vanished without a trace. 3 cases, 3 disappearances, each more baffling than the last. No witnesses, no evidence, no answers, just a growing sense of unease. Investigators began to suspect a connection between the cases. The similarities were too striking to ignore. Was someone preying on travelers along Oregon's highways? Was there a pattern, or just a chilling coincidence? The community was shaken to its core. The idea that an entire family could simply vanish was unthinkable, and fear began to take hold. Travelers grew wary, driving with caution and glancing nervously at passing cars and strangers at rest stops. The highways that once promised adventure now felt ominous. The list of missing persons continued to grow, each new case adding to the mounting fear and confusion. Each disappearance was another piece in a puzzle that no one could solve. The mystery only deepened, leaving families and investigators desperate for answers. The pattern was undeniable. A chilling sense of déjà vu haunted every new case, each detail echoing the last. The evidence pointed to a single, calculating mind orchestrating a series of disappearances that left investigators grasping at shadows. Local police were overwhelmed, their resources stretched thin as the cases piled up. The small-town departments simply weren't equipped for something of this scale. So the FBI stepped in, bringing with them a sense of urgency and expertise. Profilers at Quantico tried to build a picture of the perpetrator, a phantom who seemed to slip through every net. They pored over maps, timelines, and victim profiles, searching for the thread that would unravel the mystery. They believed it was a single, organized predator, someone who planned meticulously, choosing the perfect moment to strike, and then vanishing without a trace. The profile suggested a man, likely in his 30s or 40s, deeply familiar with the rugged Oregon terrain. He could blend in, appear trustworthy, and move unnoticed through the forests and highways. He might have posed as a police officer, a park ranger, or simply a helpful stranger offering assistance to travelers in distress. His ability to gain trust was as dangerous as his cunning. He was meticulous, left no evidence, and knew how to make people vanish. But the victims varied: men, women, even entire families, making him unpredictable and even more terrifying. Each crime scene was eerily clean, as if he'd never been there at all. Most serial killers have a type. This one seemed opportunistic, striking whenever the chance arose. The randomness made him nearly impossible to anticipate. The FBI's phantom was a chameleon, a ghost haunting the highways. Theories abounded, each more unsettling than the last. Some believed he was a long-haul truck driver, able to cover vast distances unnoticed. Others suspected a woodsman, or perhaps a military veteran with survival skills and a knack for evasion. But there was no hard evidence, only speculation and mounting frustration. Every lead seemed to dissolve into thin air, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. The killer remained at large. The public was terrified, gripped by fear and uncertainty. Rumors spread quickly, and every stranger became a potential suspect. The highways felt more dangerous than ever, shrouded in fog and suspicion. For many, the Phantom was no longer just a criminal. He was a legend, a warning whispered along the lonely roads of Oregon. In the 1970s, forensic science was primitive. DNA analysis didn't exist, fingerprint databases were limited. Evidence was mostly physical: tire tracks, footprints, fibers. But Oregon's rain erased clues quickly. The forest was the perfect accomplice: vast, dense, unforgiving. Search parties combed miles of rugged terrain, often finding nothing. A body could be hidden just feet away, lost under leaves and moss. The scale of the search was overwhelming. Without a body or weapon, proving murder was nearly impossible. Police were left with empty cars and missing people. The forest swallowed the evidence. The mystery endured, unsolved. The disappearances spanned multiple counties and jurisdictions. Local sheriffs, state police, and the FBI all got involved, but communication was slow and fragmented. No shared databases, no instant messaging, just phone calls and memos. Clues and theories often stayed siloed. The big picture was hard to see when each agency had only part of the puzzle. The killer exploited these gaps, moving freely across county lines. Time was lost in bureaucracy. The system meant to catch him sometimes helped him slip away. After years of frustration, police finally had a suspect. He fit the FBI's profile: intelligent, charming, familiar with Oregon's highways, and with a violent past. Investigators tracked his movements. He was near several disappearances. Interviews painted him as volatile, capable of sudden menace. Circumstantial evidence piled up. He was brought in for questioning, but remained calm and denied everything. He had alibis for key dates and plausible explanations for others. No physical evidence tied him to the crimes. No DNA, no fingerprints, no murder weapon. Suspicion wasn't enough for an arrest. Frustrated, police let him go. The suspect vanished back into his life. The haunting possibility remained. Had they let a killer walk free, the case grew colder. Decades passed, the files gathered dust, but hope wasn't lost. In 2026, the cases were reopened with new technology and fresh eyes. DNA analysis could now extract profiles from old evidence: hair, skin cells, even a trace of saliva. Investigators combed through every item from the abandoned cars, searching for the killer's DNA. Genetic genealogy offered new ways to identify suspects. Old witnesses were re-interviewed. New ones sought through social media. The families wanted answers, not revenge. The search was a long shot, but worth taking. The whispers of the past were being heard again. There was hope that the forest's secrets might finally be revealed. With no answers, theories multiplied. The leading idea, a single organized serial killer, methodical and persuasive, luring travelers to their doom. Some believed there were multiple predators, each exploiting the highway's isolation. Others suggested some victims chose to disappear or died in accidents, though the abandoned cars made this unlikely. The truth remains elusive. The simplest explanation is a disciplined hunter, but without proof, all theories remain possible. The mystery persists, shrouded in Oregon's mist. The forest keeps its secrets. Over 50 years later, the question remains: what happened to Oregon's vanishing travelers? Technology has changed, but the mystery endures. For families, time hasn't healed the wound, it's only deepened it. They live with unanswered questions and hope for closure. Investigators see the case as a solemn duty, a cold case that refuses to fade. Did the suspect get away with murder, or was the real killer never found? The story has become Oregon folklore, a warning whispered among locals. The pines still stand, silent witnesses to tragedy. The road stretches on, and the question lingers: what really happened here? And could it happen again?